Most High and Christ, Shalom, Israel with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. We've been on these streets since 1969 trying to teach blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians their true history, and we've been trying to teach our people mainly that there are certain things that are expected from blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. We as a people do not have the luxury, to do whatever we want. We have a father and we were given orders. Give me Deuteronomy 7:6. Okay, one of those orders. Okay, all of the orders that we have is mainly not to control us necessarily or to be a dictator over us, but to show us the right and proper way and how to do things. Okay, the Most High gave order and put order on the earth to so that we would know how to organize things and have this word ordered correctly. Right? Slightly. Did you start as private?
It's public. Might take a minute to come up.
Maybe. Okay, so you got Deuteronomy 7? That's good.
Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 6. For thou art an holy people unto the Lord, unto the Most High thy power. The Most High thy power has chosen thee to be a special people.
Thou art a holy people. What does that mean to all? Thou art a holy people.
Separate.
You are separate. You're a separated people. Okay, so give me an example. Explain to me, what does that mean? You are a separated people.
That means that the Most High separated us from the other nations by giving us His law, statutes, commandments, so we won't be heathenistic like they are.
Okay.
Worshiping.
Okay, give me a little more. We're separated. What else does that mean? He gave us laws, so now what should we do?
We are not to be amongst them. We are not to make marriages with them.
Right.
We are not to put. Going to the philosophies and pagan holidays.
That's it right there. We're not allowed to go into their philosophies and pagan holidays. Our people, because of the destruction of America, we don't understand destruction of our nation. We don't understand. It's to our detriment and to our destruction for us to be so adamant about coming inside of our oppressive system. We're so adamant to be inside of our oppressive system. The problem is we as a people need to separate. Keep going.
Come on, God. The Most High thy power has chosen thee to be a special people unto Himself.
The Most High did what?
The Most High thy power has chosen thee to be a special people unto Himself.
Now, people don't understand what that means. That means God made a choice. God took all the nations on the earth and said, I choose this nation. You know what that's called, Charles? God.
Racism.
That's called racism. Okay? He chose one race to be above every other. Okay? If anybody has any questions, just leave them in the chat. Shalom, Yahshua. Keep going.
Above all people that are upon the face of the earth.
Above all people that are upon the face of the earth. So we're above everybody, right? Okay? This is what your Christian pastor will not teach you this Thursday. When everybody wants to go in and pack some goddamn church this Thursday, to celebrate what they want to consider the new year, they won't be told that we were supposed to be separated from everybody else and not keep the new year that everybody else keeps. Okay? Because this isn't our new year. This is our oppressor's new year. This is not the new year that God set up. Okay? This is a new year that happens when everything in the earth is dead.
Right.
Right? Okay? The new year should be when there's newness of life.
Right.
Okay? So drop that. Give me Exodus 20 and 1. Okay? Now, everybody, I'm talking about 21. 20 and 1. Yeah, okay. I'm talking about what you should be learning in church. But here's the sad part. You're gonna learn about half of it. Meaning what? You'll be taught certain things, but you won't be taught the actual truth. Okay? Everybody knows the 10 Commandments, but nobody realizes what the 10 Commandments is actually saying. Right? Give me verse 2.
Come on, God. Exodus chapter 20, verse 2. I am the Most High thy power, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage.
I brought you out of Egypt. I did that with my power. That's the Most High speaking. Okay? This is a part of the 10 Commandments. It is a law to say anything other than God got us out of Egypt or got us out of our bad situation. Okay, keep going.
Verse 3. Thou shalt have no other gods before me.
You're not supposed to have any other gods before the Most High. Okay, that's what we do on these days. We put a fat white man above the Most High God last week. Okay, in a few months, we're going to put some bunny that lays eggs, even though that's not scientifically accurate or possible, right? We're going to put that above God. Okay, we put our own lust above God in a few weeks, to celebrate some goddamn Valentine's Day or Lupercalia.
Right.
We're going to put some evil false prophet above God in a few less weeks. When we celebrate that disgusting traitor's birthday.
Right.
Martin Luther King. Okay, we are putting a God over ourselves. Our people look up to these people as gods. Like right now, you have people like 12 years ago saying Barack Obama was the second coming. Okay, like that African could actually help our people.
Right.
Okay, keep going.
Verse 4. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in the heaven above.
What is in heaven above?
Like if I may, people worship.
Think about what we're talking about. God.
Planet stars.
Why would you reference those? Think about what we're talking about.
So we're talking about the New Year.
Shalom, Bakwash. Khan. So yeah. Read it from the top. Thou shalt not
make unto thee any graven image.
You shouldn't make a graven image to yourself, right? Keep going.
Or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above.
Keep going.
Or that is in the earth beneath. Or keep that going. Is in the water under the earth.
Now, why is he saying that? What is in heaven above?
I say that because people go by the moon and the changing of times in the New Year's.
We do that. You realize our New Year goes by the moon, right?
Go on, sir.
God. But this has nothing to do with using that for that's lawful. To use that's what the stars and the moon are for. They're for agriculture and plotting out your mapping and measuring time. But what's another problem? What do people do with it? You're thinking about the moon and the stars themselves, but this is talking about an image made to those things. Like I can be a righteous man. If I die and people start worshiping me, that has nothing to do with me, right? I'll still make the kingdom. Like Yahushua isn't less of a king because a bunch of sinners want to say his name a million times.
Well, are they talking about that idol that they do every New Year's with the ball jumping?
Exactly. That's a star. That's some type of star that they all want to see come down and bring greatness to themselves. Okay, you can't do that. That's off. Every Israelite should be in their house ignoring this day completely. Otherwise, you run the risk of God killing you. You run the risk of there being a terrorist attack at that goddamn ball drop. If you want to keep us all safe during these holidays, blacks and Hispanics need to stop celebrating them so that God can stop punishing us. Okay? Keep reading. God.
Verse 5. Thou shalt not serve them, for I, the Most High thy
Wait, read that from the top.
Verse 5. Thou shalt not bow down. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Most High thy power, am a jealous power.
So what is this talking about? What does he mean? I'm a jealous power.
Meaning that Most High wants us to only worship Him.
The Most High only wants us to worship Him, right? Meaning what? Meaning what? What does that mean? If He only wants us to worship Him, what's He gonna do to us?
If we don't worship Him, He's gonna curse us or kill us.
Curse us and kill us, or do both, right? He's going to destroy us if we disobey Him. Keep going.
visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me.
Now, meaning what? What's called, you aren't the only one who's going to deal with this. Your children will deal with your hatred of me. Your children will deal with the fact that you wanted to worship a ball, sit out in the cold and watch a ball drop. I mentioned this last year, like, children die on this goddamn day because some stupid parent thinks it's okay to bring a small child out at God knows like 30-degree weather. Okay? And our children die for that. That's because God wants those children dead. Because you don't want to listen. You want to do your own thing. Right? Unto them, of them that hate me. Matter of fact, give me next Revelations 18.
Come on, come.
Who's that? Come, Most High in Church, we're going to go to Revelations 18. We're going to get into these holidays and we're going to get a bit of its history. Okay, so that. Shalom, sis. What's going on? Okay, we're going to get into a bit of this history. While he's getting that and dealing with that, I'm going to start off with this history. Okay, so the first thing we're going to get is the history of where this day comes from. Because I'm talking about idol worship. You'll ask yourself, why do we care about idol worship? Like if this is idol worship or not, right? Okay. Okay, because we're going to find out that Christmas does come from idol worship. This is the Britannica Encyclopedia. Most High interest. Janus in Roman religion, the animistic spirit of doorways, Janue, and archways, Jani. Janus and the nymph Camasine were the parents of Tiberinus, whose death in or by the river Albula caused it to be renamed Tiber. Okay? The worship of Janus traditionally dated back to Romulus and a period even before the actual founding of the city Rome. There were many Jani, ceremonial gateways in Rome. These were usually freestanding structures that were used for symbolically auspicious entrances or exits. Particularly, superstition was attached to the departure of a Roman army, for which there were lucky and unlucky ways to march through a Janus, meaning there's a way that you come in from war and out from war. The most famous Janus was the Janus Geminus, which was actually a shrine of Janus at the north side of the Forum. It was a simple rectangular bronze structure. Now, for those who aren't aware, Janus is where the name for Salaki, January, comes from. All of the holidays, all of the months, for the most part, are named after gods or festivals in service to a god. Okay, even your days. Okay, Sun and Moon Day, Tours or Tears Day, Woden's Day or Odin's Day, Thursday or Thor's Day, Freya's Day or Friday, and then they get the Sabbath from us. Okay, John. How you doing, sis? Okay. The most famous, okay, it was a simple rectangular bronze structure with double doors at each end. Traditionally, the doors of the shrine were left open in time of war and were kept closed when Rome was at peace. According to the Roman historian Levi, the gates were closed only twice in all the long period between Numa, Pompilius, 7th century, and Augustus, 1st century. Some scholars regard Janus, so what does that mean? What does that mean? This basically, understand, that's the spirit of America.
Can you repeat that, sir?
I'll explain it because it's a little hard to. Traditionally, the doors of the shrine were left open in time of war and were kept closed when Rome was at peace. So when they're at war, it's open. When they're at peace, it's closed. According to the Roman historian Levi, the gates were closed only twice in all the long period between Numa Pompilius and Augustus. What does that mean? You're not sure? They stayed at war. Like, you know how they say America's been here for like 250 years? They've been at war for like 236 or something like that? Yeah, that was Rome. Rome was no different. Okay? Some scholars regard Janus as the god of all beginnings and believe that his association with doorways is derivative. He was invoked as the first of any gods in regular liturgies. The beginning of the day, month, and year, both calendrical and agricultural, were sacred to him. Okay, so that's what you do when you worship New Year's. You are worshiping another god, and what is that going to do? That's going to lead to destruction of your children. Your children will be further destroyed because you want to celebrate New Year's. Okay, the month of January is named for him, and its festival took place on January 9th, the Agonium. There were several important temples erected to Janus, and it is assumed that there was also an early cult of Janiculum, which the ancients took to mean the city of Janus. Janus was represented by a double-faced head, and he was represented in art, either with or without a beard. Occasionally, he was depicted as four-faced, as the spirit of the four-way arch. Okay, so that's the history of that. That's a bit of the history. We're going to get a little more. Give me what you got in 18.
Come on, come. Oh, what verse you said?
2. You can start at verse 2.
Revelations. Revelations chapter 18, verse 2. Aqua, if you have it.
18 and 2.
Revelation.
John.
Revelations 18.
Now we're gonna get this one as well in a minute. Keep going.
Chapter 18, verse 2.
Now we're gonna get their baby. We're gonna get this as well. Matter of fact, since I got it up, Babylonian Akitu. Following the first new moon after the vernal equinox in late March, the Babylonians of ancient Mesopotamia, as I broke out last week, pagans are mainly about nature and worshiping the stars and so on and so forth. The cats created Christmas. Now listen to this. Would honor the rebirth of the natural world with a multi-day festival called Akitu. This early New Year celebration dates back to around 2000 BC and is believed to have been deeply intertwined with religion and mythology. During the Akitu, statues of the gods were paraded through the streets and rites were enacted to symbolize their victory over the forces of chaos. Through these rituals, the Babylonians believed the world was symbolically cleansed and created by the gods. One fascinating aspect of the Akitu involved a kind of ritual humiliation endured by the Babylonian king. This peculiar tradition saw the king brought before a statue of God Marduk, stripped of his royal regalia, and forced to swear that he had led the city with honor. Okay? Okay? Okay, so very basically, you'll find out what's called, okay, theirs was when? Theirs happened when? Interestingly enough.
January?
No. These are the Babylonians. The first nation to really rise up after the flood. Following the first new moon after the vernal equinox in late March, the Babylonians of ancient Mesopotamia would honor the rebirth of the natural world with a multi-day festival called Akitu. So when was that? Why is that important to understand? Following the first new moon after the vernal equinox in late March, the Babylonians of ancient Mesopotamia. Why is that important? So let's see if somebody online can get it. If any of y'all know, let me know. Why is it important that they say this? The vernal equinox. Okay, in late March. It's very important, and it shows you what's called the Bible is true. Okay? Anybody got it? I'll give you about 10 seconds. What happens in late March, Shaw?
It's our New Year, sir.
Huh?
The New Year.
Whose New Year?
The Most High's New Year.
The Most High's New Year. So where do you think the Babylonians got the idea to have the same New Year as the Most High?
Scripture, sir.
Give me a better answer.
Come on.
You're somewhat on the money, but you don't want to say scriptures because then it'll seem like, oh, well, the Babylonians have the Bible then.
Come on, sir. Slakia. They got it. They got it from our record, sir. So,
No. We wouldn't exist for thousands of years. Where did the Babylonians come from? Very simple. You know, sis? Anybody online can tell me, where do Babylonians come from? It's very simple. Sis?
Greek.
Huh?
Greek.
What? We?
Greek.
Greek? No. Where do Babylonians come from? Babylonians are Africans. So where do Babylonians come from? See if anybody can help me out with that. Nobody? Come.
That be from the sea line of Ham.
Okay, so give me more. How did they know to have their New Year on around the vernal equinox at the end of May?
Because they observe.
Very simple.
Well, that's during the time when everything renews itself.
So what?
That's around the time when everything renews itself.
Okay, you got to give me a little more though. I'll give it to you because Noah told them.
Shit, I was gonna say more too.
Adam taught it to his children, who taught it to Noah, who taught it to his children. At some point, the Babylonians said, or nations who had at one point listened to the Babylonians said, we're going to go with a different timeline, and that's what you have to do. Originally, the Babylonians, which is one of the first main nations to rise up after the flood, they knew and understood the springtime is the new year. Because that's what their forefather Noah taught them. But they went against the Most High. Okay? Keep going.
Come on. Slakia. Slakia, what verse you said?
What's it called? We in Revelation. Give me Revelations 18 and
Verse 2.
Yeah, come on.
Revelation chapter 18, verse 2. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon, the great is fallen, and has become the habitation of devils. It has
become the habitation of devils. What is this talking about? Very simple.
It's basically it's talking about the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. It's the oppressors is ruling Babylon.
Okay, no, well, you need to give me more. The habitation of devils. What is that? What is a habitation, and what is that? And break that down. What is a habitation of devils?
A place where you dwell, where you make your dwelling place.
Okay, who makes it their dwelling place?
Esau, the oppressor.
Give me a little better.
Well, he
A devil. Okay, like what do you mean? In that sense, what do you mean by a devil?
Yeah, the so-called white man.
No. Con.
Offspring.
What?
The offspring.
Whose offspring?
The devil.
The devil's offspring. Who's the devil's offspring, Charles?
Esau.
No.
The Babylonians.
No. The Babylonians are African, sis. Who's the devil's offspring?
Well, devil means deceiver.
Right? Right. Now you're closer on it.
Come on.
Can only an Edomite be a deceiver?
Sir.
Who else is the deceiver?
We're talking about Christianity.
Christians as well.
Come on.
The home of every foul bird, what's called habitation of devils. These coons and what's called these false leaders come into these places, what's called love America. Why? Because it's a place where a liar can get ahead. A liar can do very well here in America. Con.
So in this context, it's not talking about Esau, it's talking about our people Christianity.
No. You can use it for Esau. You can use it for any deceiver, any liar. But because the white man, our oppressor, is the devil, this is obviously his home. But if you would like to live in his home, it's like the Playboy Mansion. Okay, I know that's wicked or whatever. I know the cat's dead or whatever. YAHANNA. If you like women or whatever, yeah, of course it's the habitation for anybody who like women, for any pervert, right? For any sexual deviant. But the king of sexual deviancy is YAHANNA himself. That's what it means. Okay, the habitation of devils. If you want to get ahead by being a devil, by being a liar and the deceiver and the cheat, this is the place for you. Okay? And now he's saying that place is fallen. Just like Babylon, who wanted to worship griffins, right? Even though they had a somewhat accurate time frame of when the new year was. Read that from the top, verse 2.
Come, and he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great.
Babylon the what?
Babylon the Great.
Babylon the okay.
Babylon the Great.
Babylon the mediocre.
Babylon the Great.
Babylon the iffy.
Babylon the Great.
Babylon was great once. Understand that. Babylon was America. Babylon was Egypt. Right? Before either of these places. Egypt is only great because the Babylonians came and conquered them and taught them education that they used to springboard and finance their greater society, along with other things that we as a people help them out with. But that's the basis of it. Babylon the Great, Babylon the Great is fallen. That great place that used to run the earth and made nations to tremble, right? Fell, right? And now it's prophesying their child, their love child. Because understand, why does it say about the ancient Babylonians having a new year? You know why? It's very simple. If anybody got any questions online, Bible chat, please put them in the chat. If y'all want to answer some questions, please just put them in the chat and get them. Con, you got an idea, Shaul?
No.
They started New Year's. Just like they started Christmas and they started Easter. Okay? These are inventions of our oppressor. Okay? Of our oppressors. A New Year's, a Christmas, and Easter. These are all things that our enemies created in the past. Okay? Keep reading.
God. And come, Slakia, and the whole of every foul spirit,
every evil spirit, right, lives here inside of America. Meaning what? Women, our sisters going around killing their babies. Our women have adopted the spirit of America inside these abortion clinics. Our brothers have adopted the spirit of selfishness, okay, being inside of America. Our people, what's it called? We have to deal with the spirit of our oppressor. Okay? He has a spirit of a coward. Okay? And we have to deal with that foul spirit. Okay? Because it's foul and evil. We have to deal with a spirit of lies, which is the spirit of a devil or a deceiver. Okay? What's it called? They said that in New York City said you're not allowed to choke anybody, but the cat who killed Eric Garner got overtime and did no jail time for choking that man in the middle of the street. And the cat who videotaped him doing it has had police presence every year since that happened. Okay, this is what we're talking about. Every foul spirit. These spirits need to be dealt with. Can I keep going?
In a cage of every unclean and hateful bird.
Okay, keep going.
So, like, what does that mean?
In a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Meaning what? All of these evil spirits, okay, all of these evil, every evil abomination on earth is inside of here. That's where it's all trapped. That's where everyone goes. You want to be a homosexual and you want to be free? Come to America. Like that's what a lot of these Arabs do. That's what a lot of, especially if they want to live some way different from how their people would live, you come to America. Like some of these countries are wilding, but they're how certain countries are set up, and it'll seem like a dictatorship. Come to America. You understand, like, some people think it's weird to us the way we, what's it called? But in some places, you'll get shot for cursing out a cop. Like here in America, that's seen as a beautiful thing. Come.
Does the end of this precept explains the beginning of verse 3?
What do you mean? And hateful bird, we done with verse 2, so verse 3?
Verse 3, for all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of our fornication.
What do you mean? What do you mean by this?
Meaning that, Salaki, for all nations have drunk of the
Let me help you out a bit. For is another word to say because. So please, and replace for with because.
But all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of our fornication.
So now you understand it? Because you're such a disgusting place, because these nations thought it was good. Now what does that mean? Drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication.
This is about the philosophies?
Not necessarily, no.
The wrath of her fornication.
What is the wine of the wrath of her fornication?
So can this be talking about plagues? Like
no.
God.
You think the wrath is something bad happened on her, it's not.
God.
Anyone want to give it a shot online? It's very simple. I'll give it to you. You want to try? Well, you want to give it to you?
God.
Okay, meaning what? The wine of the wrath of her fornication. Meaning what? These nations drank from her idea. Meaning what is the wine of the wrath of her fornication? Meaning what comes from the fornication? The problems that come from the fornication. They wanted to drink that wrath. Meaning what? We're going to enslave blacks and Hispanics. Y'all drunk from that wine. Meaning what? You got to move into our neighborhoods and enslave us further. With chicken shops and cleaners and Arab chicken joints, so on and so forth. Knowing full well we were enslaved and had everything stolen from us. You know full well, like, this is a dependency. Like, this is forced dependency on my people. But you just want to continue drinking the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Keep going.
God. And the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her.
What does that mean? You should be able to break that down. The descendants of the Babylonians, I believe, are Salakia, go to General Muhammad. I don't want to say the wrong answer. Nah, that's online. You good. Come, keep going.
Okay. And the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies.
The merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. What does that mean?
Meaning that Hamites is going to feed off of this pagan holiday, the New Year's, with selling these stupid 2021 glasses and
yeah, right.
and blowhorns.
Yeah, blowhorns and the hats.
They give it, they make their money off of that.
Right. Blowhorn, hats. Give me a little more. Take it off New Year's for a minute.
How they become rich?
Yeah, merchants are waxed rich by her merchandise.
Also, the Moabites who are only.
Okay, first off, what's the merchandise? Abundance of her delicacies. What's her delicacies? It's very simple. I'll give you a hint. It's the first commodity ever sold on Wall Street.
Shit.
Try not to curse, bro.
SHALAM.
Can't you good? Okay.
I was going to say another way to get rich is not off the blowhorns, but off the liquor that's going to be
Oh yeah, that's another one. That liquor that's going to be sold. Yeah, that's another good one. What's it called? But give me more. What is the delicacies? Take it off New Year's. How do these nations get rich every day in the year? Come.
Food.
No.
Damn.
The first thing traded on Wall Street. First commodity ever traded on Wall Street. Come.
Talking about slaves?
Yes. The abundance of their delicacies. That's what makes them rich. How does a slave make this Chinese man rich? I'm asking the question. Most High brothers. Salakia, Most High Dominic Chapman, Most High if I'm not mistaken, you got it first, so Most High her sins, the Quash, you were right, slaves. No, wait, Salakia, you had it the second time with slaves, the Quash, Yashuam. You're also right, slavery, free labor. Okay, so now, how do they get rich? How do slaves make them rich? How does a slave make Indian woman in Europe rich?
By us buying from them, sir.
Right. The Indian one I'm talking about is Prada. Okay, she's rich. How? Because we're slaves. We own nothing of our own, and we go in and we buy from them. Okay, what's called the abundance of that is what keeps the Chinese afloat. The Chinese, right? Exactly, Bakwash, by funding their economy and ignoring our own. That's exactly how we do it. The Chinese economy and the Chinese don't really have to worry about feeding their poor. Because for the majority of Chinese, they have American cousins that are sending them back fried chicken and fried rice money. Right? Keep reading. What's called, and that's basically what happens. That's how a lot of these countries get rich and are able to survive. Because we're helping them to survive. Keep going.
Verse 4. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people.
Come out of her, my people. What does that mean? Come out of her, my people. Come.
Ways of what they doing.
Okay, I like that. The ways of what they're doing. You want to give me a little more show?
Zephaniah 2:1. We have to separate ourselves.
Okay, fine. But on topic.
Not to follow these pagan holidays.
Right? Okay, here's what I wanted. Stay your behind in the house Thursday night. Stay in the house. Matter of fact, if you in the New York area, you can't come watch a ball drop, which is very homosexual. I don't understand any man who would actually go out in freezing weather and say, yeah, I'm gonna go watch this ball drop. Right? I got better things to do. First off, it's gotta be you gotta understand, like, Satan is very powerful. I understand, like, it's gotta be the women. Like, probably Jake just wants some women. Cause like I don't know no cat who would do that. That's exactly what it is, right?
They get free kisses on New Year's.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like, yeah, I was gonna work my way into that, but y'all cats are disgusting.
Right.
Like, I don't know because y'all had VD was a big problem back then and all that. I don't like. You actually have to do the deed to get that though, if I'm not mistaken. But like, we live in such a weird world, and you know it's disgusting. It wasn't for the fact that they probably done shut it down because of the COVID.
Right.
People would not give a damn, would still be kissing in that goddamn street.
Right.
I remember I was forced. I used to do delivery work. I wouldn't even say I was forced. I was technically tricked. Like, nobody told me it was that homosexual goddamn parade. Like, I ended up working on a Sunday, not realizing, and I got trapped in the middle of that. I saw some female giving out free kisses like this. That is the first time I ever saw no shit like that. Like, y'all really, like, I can't thank God for the truth, because it's like, what world are you living in, my God? Like you must live in some worlds where gonorrhea, herpes, AIDS, all this shit don't exist, huh?
Right.
Like, you must live in a perfect world with no STDs. But I see that and it's like, nah. Okay, so now these cats on New Year's, I don't understand that. You about to be locking lips with God knows what or who.
Right.
Like, she could have been blowing every goddamn rod in her town last night.
Right.
This morning. You don't give a damn, you're getting a kiss for New Year's. You're a homosexual.
Right.
You're half a homosexual, right? Okay? 4.
Come on, verse 4 from the top. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers of her sins. Come
out of her, my people, right? And that ye be not partakers of her sins. Meaning what? What is that saying, Shaul?
That means if you go out that night, it's a possibility that you might get hit by a stray bullet.
Right. Give me more.
Or you might be raped, or you might be drugged.
Right.
You know, it's a lot of matters like that be going on during those type of nights.
Right.
You know,
I don't want to get you killed. I don't want you to get killed. And you have to understand, this is very important when you're breaking this down. This is mercy and love, but the world doesn't understand it, because here's the thing. God is not a whore. God is not a slut. What do I mean by that? Like, you know why nobody cares about God? Because everybody thinks they can have him, and he's just open. That's how they treat God. Like, he's just some slut you can go to and from back. Like it's nothing. Okay? But here's the point. Not everybody has a chance of being with God. Right? And here's another thing. You have to prove yourself that you have the opportunity to be with God. How do you do that? Read 4 from the top again.
Verse 4, sir?
Yeah. Read, you can start at come out.
Come out of her, my people.
You start by listening to him when he says, I don't want you dressing like that. I don't want you going here. I don't want you associating with these people. You're going to watch what drop where? Yeah, no, you're going to steal your behind in this house. That's what you're going to do. Okay? Come out of her, my people. Stop acting like that. And act like how I tell you to act. Keep going.
That ye be not partakers of her sins.
That ye are not partakers of her sins. Keep going.
And that ye receive not of her plagues.
And you don't receive of her plagues. Keep going.
Verse 5, for her sins have reached unto heaven.
That ye receive not of her plagues. Meaning what? You want to be protected from the coronavirus? You need to keep the law. You need to come out of America. You need to stop, what's it called? Not celebrate New Year's. Okay? Or else what? What will happen? Read the end, read the bottom, and that ye.
And that ye receive not of her plagues.
That ye receive not of her plagues. Okay? You don't want to die from this disease. So leave America. Spiritually, not physically. You do not physically leave America. Verse 5.
Verse 5. For her sins have reached unto heaven.
I know full well that they're worshiping an ancient pagan god here in America on January 1st. I know full well that a few days ago, they thought it was cool to put a tree in their house and worship Nimrod. I know that a few months ago, they thought it was a cool idea to celebrate and eat and be merry after killing my people, the Native Indians. Read that from the top.
Verse 5, for her sins have reached unto heaven.
I know about all of these things. I know about when you was an idiot, a grown-ass woman or a grown-ass man dressed up as a pharaoh, dressed up as a cowboy, dressed up as a wicked witch, dressed up as a Jedi, dressed up as Spider-Man. How old is you? And if the answer is 5, I question how much your parents love you to allow you to be out in the elements of the world around any type of homosexual who might grab you or take you or put some poison inside of your candy.
Right.
Like there are really some sick people in this world that are people, and it goes back to the cats asking for kisses at the gay parade. You gotta understand, New Year's is gay.
Right.
You're sitting there watching a ball drop, kissing random strangers. I have only ever seen that at a gay parade, and guess what? Carnivals. Those are also some, what's called free. That's also a funny little place, a carnival. Okay, but what's called? Because they got them little kissing booths. You pay for, and I just so you know, that's prostitution. I don't care what nobody tells you.
Right.
I pay like 5 cents. I don't care if it's a nickel. I gave you finances in order for some type of arousal. That's prostitution. And just so you know, you taking your clothes off and me giving you money is also prostitution. There's no way around it. You're a sex worker. It's another way for a sex worker, right? A prostitute. The hell? Okay, now, what's it called? You going over there, and the mistletoe, all these holidays, for the most part, have some, what's it called? Yeah, the mistletoe. All these holidays have some idea of you going out and being a lustful bastard. Okay? And the thing about it is, it also teaches you what? There is no responsibility. There is only fun and joy and your happiness.
Right.
Until you get the herpes. Until you get the gonorrhea. Until you get the AIDS. Like no one tells you there are health risks to putting a rod inside of your behind. No one ever tells you that. I'm looking for the name. If any brother or sister knows the name, it is an exact medical term that it's a known thing amongst active homosexuals that are inside of that lifestyle and have to deal with that type of I don't even want to use the word intercourse. That type of relation, right? Are familiar that you can't have complications from doing that. Okay? They don't tell you, however, Shaw, have you ever heard this in your life? That there's a complication. Like it's not just you have the homosexual sex and end the story. Have you ever heard that you can have serious health complications in your backside because of
I remember you mentioned that several times before, sir, in the teaching, sir.
You can. But other than that, you've never heard that out in the world.
No,
they don't mention that. They don't mention that to this day, the ratio for HIV contraction between straight and male, between straight and homosexual are what's called drastically different. Homosexuals have a higher, still to this day, have a higher rate of getting AIDS and HIV. Why? Because the words of this Bible are true. Okay? What's another thing they don't tell you? Homosexuals lead in domestic violence.
Right.
You know why? Maybe a woman shouldn't start taking testosterone. It might mess with her head. Maybe a man might not want to take estrogen. It might mess with his head. And when you have a chemical imbalance, that imbalance will try to fight itself. Which leads to what? Mood swings. Which leads to what? I think you're cheating on me with whatever you're supposed to be having sex with. I was thinking about that the other day. I was watching some show, and this girl had a girlfriend, and the girlfriend ends up breaking up with her because he's like, I can't do it anymore. I can't deal with the bi girl because every time I get with them, they end up just leaving me for a guy. Most times, give the girls who keep leaving her for a guy. That's the right thing to do. If you're in a homosexual relationship, ladies, what's called? Come into the I.S.U.P.K. We will get you counseling and we will get you a husband.
That's right.
In the words of Captain Taiwan, get something with a vein in it. Okay? Keep reading.
And the Most High have remembered her iniquities.
Most High remembered her iniquities, right? Keep going.
Verse 6, reward her even as she rewarded you, and double unto her double according to her works.
Reward her double even as she rewarded you. Meaning what? What is this talking about?
Reward her even as she had.
Give me your example of what this means.
Oh God. Is this talking about how we treated the Most High? The Most High is going to put more judgment on us?
No. This ain't judgment for us. Remember, read verse 5. Verse 5 is about her sins have reached unto heaven.
For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the Most High have remembered her iniquities.
Right, so read verse 6.
Even her, even as she rewarded you.
Reward her even as she rewarded you. Meaning what?
We sin against the Most High.
Okay.
So the Most High is going to reward us with punishment.
No, this has nothing to do with us.
God.
Who's verse 5 comes?
The fires that's going on, the earthquakes, the tornadoes, the Most High is going to reward this place with that?
No.
Come on.
Who's verse 5 talking about? Who's the her in verse 5?
Her is talking about America?
America, Babylon, yes, come. So who's the her in verse 6?
It's all about America.
So what does that mean then? Reward her even at, what does it mean to reward?
To pay back.
How did she reward us?
With slavery.
So how should we reward them?
Come with slavery, sir.
That's what it's talking about.
Come.
Were we allowed to keep our high holy days?
There
will be no New Year's in the kingdom of heaven.
Come.
That's what our people have to understand. Okay? The time is coming where we will rule the earth. And in that time, you will what's called, these other nations will shut their goddamn mouth and celebrate what we tell them to celebrate. Right? Okay? And we're going to do it doubly or so. Okay? Right now, we get the luxury of being able to keep our own high holy days. In the kingdom, they won't be as lucky. If we find anybody celebrating Janus, we're going to kill them.
Right.
Okay? Salakia. Khan. Okay? Keep going.
God. Salakia. And the cup which
no. And double.
And double unto her double according to her works. And the cup which he hath filled to her double.
And the cup, okay, meaning what? What is it saying?
Basically, we're gonna do unto them double what they've done to us.
Okay, give me a little more. Give me a break. How would you break that down on the street?
Come on, cut.
It's very simple. You really just got to add two numbers. That's the perfect way to do it. I'll give it to you for time's sake. What's it called? They made us do 500 years slavery. So we gonna need that back, and we're gonna need another 5.
Right.
So y'all gotta do 1,000 years of slavery. Y'all used to only give us $200 a month in food stamps. We're only giving you $100 a month in food stamps. Come.
So, like, that 1,000 years, is that in Obadiah?
Nah.
The scriptures doesn't say necessarily 1,000 years?
That's the Dark Ages. That's not talking about that. When you talk about the devil will go away for a season, and then he shall return.
Slacky, I'm slacky. For me, I'm referring back to, like, before I was in the I.S.U.P.K. If I recall, brothers used to say that they're going to go into 1,000 years in slavery, and then they're going to be burnt in Obadiah.
Okay. Technically, okay, I see what you mean. They're going to be extinctified, yeah.
Go on.
Got it. I'm using 1,000 years as just a what's it called for those who aren't aware. I'm using 1,000 years just as a template, but it'll be somewhere in that time frame. Within that time frame, within about 800 to 1,000 years, the white man will be extinctified. Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. I thought you were referring to, because the Bible says the devil will go away for a season, which is 1,000 years. Yeah, come. Just so y'all know, that already happened already. Okay. Okay, now give me Jeremiah 10. We about to endorse in a second.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is a short one today. What's it called? Salakia. What's it called? This one's only going to be probably about an hour. Salakia. What's it called? We're going to get into the rest of this history. We're going to get a few more of these, actually. I need to... So, okay, now here's the interesting thing. The Roman New Year also originally corresponded with the vernal equinox. Sha'al, look up vernal equinox.
Vernal equinox?
Yeah, tell me what day the vernal equinox is. And anybody listening online, see if you can't get it before I have to read it. I'll give you out a few seconds. Okay, the vernal equinox. And let me tell you, this is a season. I think I said this last week during class. This is a season. Like for brothers who are learning to teach and coming into the school, and brothers that already are teaching and want to like get ready to have jobs like this so they can teach these holidays and so on and so forth. Don't stagnate yourself, or don't think you're restricted to, if I use these scriptures for Christmas, I can't use them again. If I use these for Thanksgiving, I can't use these for New Year's. And then if I use this for Halloween, I can't use this. From Halloween to really New Year's, all those scriptures really fit. And you'll find out a lot of these holidays are really the same goddamn thing. Like I just said, every holiday, I just named about 3 goddamn festivals, right? March 20th, okay, that's about right. And there's March 20th, nah, not March 20th. Wait, when is the vernal?
Vernal equinox.
Is what?
It says, the equinox in spring on about March 20.
Okay, it must be the other one. Okay, come. Okay, so who's with the Salakia? Bear with me 1 second.
Salakia, it says, you want me to give the definition of the astronomy of equinox?
Nah. Okay, now we're about to find out how exactly this happened with the vernal equinox. Did you know in order to realign the Roman calendar with the sun, Julius Caesar had to add 90 extra days to the year 46 BC when he introduced his new Julian calendar. Okay? Throughout antiquity, civilization around the world developed increasingly sophisticated calendars, typically pinning the first day of the year to an agricultural or astronomical event. Okay, Con. Okay, the early Roman calendar consisted of 10 months and 304 days, with each new year beginning at the vernal equinox. Because theirs was even similar to ours. According to tradition, it was created by Romulus, the founder of Rome in the 8th century BC. A later king, Numa Pompilius, is credited with adding the months of Januarius and Februarius over the centuries. The calendar fell out of sync with the sun, and in 46 BC, the emperor decided to solve the problem by consulting with the most prominent astronomers and mathematicians of his time. As part of his reform, Caesar instituted January 1st as the first day of the year, partly to honor the month's namesake, Janus, the Roman god of beginnings, whose two faces followed him to look back into the past and forward into the future. Now, in medieval Europe, leaders temporarily replaced January as the first of the year with days carrying more religious significance, such as December 25th and March 25th. Okay? Until the Catholics set it back. In many countries, New Year celebrations begin on the evening of December 31st, New Year's Eve, and continue into the early hours of January 1st. Revelers often enjoy meals and snacks thought to bestow good luck for the coming year. Okay? In Spain and several other Spanish-speaking countries, people bolt down a dozen grapes, symbolizing their hope for the months ahead, right before midnight. In many parts of the world, traditional New Year's dishes feature legumes, which are thought to resemble coins and herald future financial success. Examples include lentils in Italy and what do Jake eat on New Year's? Let me see if anyone can figure it out. Y'all was right, March. What do Kansas?
Collard greens, black-eyed peas, right?
Well, no, for luck. There's something that Jake does for luck. But what, you want to give it another shot? I'm not saying you were wrong or right, but no. Something they eat for luck. I'm going to give you one more try. I'm not saying you were right the first time, but choose one. No. Anybody want to give it a shot online? Mind you, this is talking about our people, because to my knowledge, only our people do this. What do our people eat for luck on New Year's? Maybe you could be right with greens. It just doesn't say it here, and I've never heard greens being eaten for New Year's. You have? Oh, that is. People eat greens on New Year's for good luck.
Kind of greens.
Salaki, sis, I apologize. You are correct. Give her a hand. Dominic Chapman, you are correct. The answer I was looking for is black-eyed peas in the southern United States. Now, this is interesting. Because pigs represent progress and prosperity, in some cultures, pork appears on the New Year's Eve table in Cuba, Austria, Hungary, Portugal, and other countries. Ring-shaped cakes and pastries, a sign that the year has come full circle, round out the feast in Netherlands, Mexico, Greece, and elsewhere. In the United States, the most iconic New Year's tradition is the dropping of a giant ball in Times Square. At the stroke of midnight, millions of people around the world watch the event, which is taking place almost every year except every year since 1907. Except for this one, with the Most High. The Most High did a great job with 2020, and what's called, I don't know about you, I pray that 2021 is much, much worse. I'm looking for some famine. I'm looking for more wars and rumors of wars. I'm looking for more coronavirus. Right. I want to hear that the vaccine doesn't work. That would be so funny to me, right? With that, give me Jeremiah. We're going to end it off in a second.
Jeremiah chapter 10, verse 2.
Right.
Thus saith the Most High, learn not the way of the heathen.
The way of the heathen? Okay, well, the way of the heathen is to sit up worried about a goddamn ball to grow. That's homosexual, right? Keep going.
And be not dismayed at the signs of heaven.
Okay, be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, right? Keep going.
For the heathen are dismayed at them.
The heathen are dismayed at them. What does that mean?
They're surprised. You know, they are
not necessarily surprised.
It's like a wonder. It's like an amazement to them.
They're dismayed at them. Yeah, basically, it's a blood moon. Oh my God! Usually it's either yellow or white. Now it's red. Wow. Look at these sets of stars sitting up under here, and it only does it on the darkest day of the year, which is the winter solstice. This tree doesn't lose its leaves in the winter. We should pull it in the house and give it gifts. It's magical.
So like this off topic, sir, for 1 second, sir.
Come.
When it says, thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the sides of heaven. Can we also use this in saying don't like follow people not to be dismayed if they see a chariot? Can we put that in there or not?
Well, you kind of want to be dismayed if you see a little chariot.
Well, but that belongs to the Most High. That's ours. We normally saw that back in the ancient days, but like it would be a surprise for us knowing what that is.
You might still die.
What do you mean, son?
If I'm a faggot and I walk up to a chariot, oh my God, you're an angel of the Lord, he's gonna kill me. Like, yeah, you might want to fear a chariot now. Nah, but you and I shouldn't fear a chariot. I would just call General behind me before I go.
So can we use it in that context? Like,
what?
If we see a chariot, right?
Right.
So like brothers actually seen. I've never.
Yeah, God. Yeah, one sec, sis.
Should we be dismayed or should we not be dismayed?
Why would you be dismayed? You're in the truth.
Exactly.
Right, Con.
So we could use like this for an example, like do not be dismayed at the astrology, like how.
And the signs of heaven. I mean, this is more so nature.
Come.
This is more so about nature, like the stars have movement, the constellations. These idiots want to worship that.
Right.
That's just like on the darkest night of the year, you're gonna see these same 3 stars in this same place.
Come.
That doesn't mean get a tree out and bring it in your house.
So during this breakdown, we shouldn't mention chariots. Don't be dismayed if you.
Ask General Hyman. I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Go on.
Sis.
No, I was thinking about what he was saying.
Okay.
I was home and I was with my husband.
Right.
And we were sitting on the couch. He said, "You see that big light? You see that big light? It looked like some type of thing going this way."
Con. Here's the thing. Just if you see anything that you think is strange or abnormal or possibly could be a chariot, if you ain't right with the Most High, you need to get right with the Most High. If you are, wait for the trumpet to blow. Wait for orders.
God.
He could just be fucking with the white man, trying to get him to do something stupid. Salaki for cursing. He could be just trying to make him do something stupid. Like that's how, for those who don't know a little history, that's how they got rid of the Soviets. Ronald Reagan just armed up America, and the Soviets saw that and said, "We're going to bankrupt ourselves because we're about to go to war." And they never went to war, and they just had spent all that money that they didn't have, and the Soviets fell. Keep reading.
For the heathen are dismayed at them.
The heathen are dismayed at them. Okay, that's what heathens do. Let the white people go out in the. You gotta understand, that's some white people stuff.
Right.
We're gonna go out at 12 o'clock at midnight to stand out. And we're not even going out at 12 o'clock midnight. If you want good seats and you really want to be there, 5, 6.
Right.
Right? And you got to be out there and do all that. What's it called? That's some heathen stuff. Only heathens do that. Keep going.
Verse 3. For the customs of the people are vain.
The customs of the people are vain. It's stupid. The next part is about Christmas, right? God, we just end off there. The customs of the people are vain. It means trivial. It means stupid. They look to stars for answers. That's a great answer. That's a perfect way to say it, McQuash. They look to the stars for answers. And now, if it wasn't for coronavirus, they'd be out there now looking up at some great stars come falling down, right, like a ball. Right? Once again, that is so homosexual. I'm gonna sit here, watch some balls drop, then I'm gonna turn to the next person and kiss them. So what happens when the next person next to you is a homosexual?
Right.
That's crazy.
Like, that don't make no goddamn sense. Like, I'm surprised nobody gets shot on New Year's.
God.
Like, cause I don't know, like I'm surprised nobody gets shot. Cause you always see some stupid stuff happening in the club. You mean nobody's stupid girl accidentally kissed the wrong person and ended up getting somebody killed? Not like that kind.
You know, if I may, people are so wicked. Even though they can't go out there or on Times Square, they still gonna be gathering amongst themselves, watching the ball drop, still kissing and still just.
You can.
You know, they still gonna be doing it even though they're not outside.
You can. And it's evil and wicked and disgusting, and it's sad. But with that, I pass the class over to police officer Shalom. Most I try to lock you. This one was a little shorter than usual. A little shorter than usual. What's it called? Next week will probably be longer. It will be much longer than this one. We just got to clean up the school. We got a bit of a late start and all that. Yeah, kind. Also, make sure everybody's who it doesn't know already. The Passover will be in Houston this year, April 24th. So start getting everything ready. Get your plane ticket ready. It's going to be in Houston. Look us up online, Most High in Christ. Go on I.S.U.P.K.org. Okay, look up the date. Look up the address. I believe it's going to be held at a ranch. Come down, be with your brothers. Shalom, Israel. Come on, one second.